fitting right here, which is, I don't think that's solvable. You know, of course, on a golf shirt, a tight fitting golf shirt, that's to be expected. Looks like it's hitting either right here or right here. Let's see who's printing really well. It's both, actually. But this part doesn't really protrude, which is good. It kind of hooks the body back here. It's these two main parts, and there's nothing you can do about that anyway. But it would, to draw the draw stroke, I'm trying not to look at the camera here. In the draw stroke, you draw, pull it, and you're in action. So I mentioned I didn't have a 320, so I stuck my Glock with the dot on here, and hang on, hold the top. P226 magazine. Fits in here loosely. I don't think it'll come out on its own. It definitely engages with the magazine. So this whole thing is about 43 ounces, and it's very, very solid. More solid than the Glock, that's for sure. So suck it in, kind of the appendix, and then pull back to the side. Keep your shirt tight. Suck it in, pull back, and get that trigger guard over the belt. And if you still got a no bullet holes, good. No bullet holes. You can see. There you go. And the draw, you would pull up, out, and of course with a real mag, maybe that wouldn't happen. Grinding, it's interesting on the draw stroke. Pushing that magazine forward immediately drop the magazine. Now that, even though this is a 226 mag, that may actually happen on the real gun. You know, so, well, that would never happen to me because I wouldn't carry it without the holster. Okay, then of course it wouldn't happen to you because you would never carry it. The holsters for these things are even bigger than these things. Obviously, they wouldn't fit in them in the first place. So suck it in, throw one more belt button, one more belt looser here. See what happens with that. All right, so we're here. Oh yeah, that's much better. Much better on that. So there you go. That's I'm going to be Dremel tooling that right off. Going to be just cutting that little sweetheart right off of there. I've cut a whole lot off already, including the. Actually, that magazine release button still works here in the front, even though I was Dremel tooled it totally smooth. So I may just use that to release the magazine. The one where the magazine's up front, that's been totally hacked off, and I could probably hack the front of this off too. I'm just doing some more tests before I do that. But yeah, grinding this off flush to where it doesn't push against it as you're drawing out of the holster. That's going to be pretty important, I think, as well as removing these thumb safeties here. But I would recommend for this kind of carry a trigger that has a divot on it, you know, whatever you call it, little thing on the trigger, a double trigger where you have to put your finger on it to actually pull it. But I'm going to take the magazine out for now. Pop it back. Oh yeah. Reducing one belt notch makes sense. This is the same width as the Flux Glock. I thought it would be wider, but it turns out it's not. So it should be about the same carry capability as the Glock. Now the difference between this and the new Flux 365 is the 365 has a folding arm that goes with it. Now I've ordered the holster, not the gun, which is like $4,000, maybe really more like $5,000 now. But I've only ordered the holster, and it'll be an inside the waistband holster, and I'll see how that even work, you know, how it feels to even wear that. The gun should be how it feels to wear that, plus the weight of the gun, which could be in, you know, 35 ounce range, I would say. But this with no holster is pretty quick. It's not instant like that P365 Flux is. As you draw it, the brace will automatically flip out if you choose that option. This you have to pull, but it's not slow, and it doesn't seem, after you grind off that magazine release, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to get in your way. The importance of it being this fast is when it's this fast compared to drawing a normal gun, then you can draw this and deploy every time you need a gun. Every time, irrespective of the situation. So you always have a PCC, as opposed to only the times when situations in which time would allow you to actually properly deploy it. That's like 10% of the time, right? The rest of the time it's quick and dirty and it's close range, pistol ranges. And without a doubt, the pistols would suffice for professionals. But to be able to give someone this, and they could shoot like a professional instantly, and do it out to, what, 50 yards maybe? 75? Easy. This is a game changer. It takes a lot of custom work, though, with a Dremel tool to get it to this point. It has some flanges here on the side as well. Cut those off. Those may not have been that much longer than the rails themselves, but they bothered me, so they had to go. But that's the Flux SF Special Forces cut, where I'm using the dot scope on the slide as opposed to one way up here. And then I trimmed off the magazine release, the extra magazine up front here. And I haven't cut this portion off yet, which would make it a little easier to carry. This is still thick, unlike the Glock. Glock is like 0.6 inches, and this is 1.12, so this is actually twice as thick as it is on the Glock right here. Not sure how much that affects things, but that's kind of yuck. That's kind of not a lot you can do about that. You could remove the guts, especially if you had some sort of device that would hold the magazine in. You might could even put a screw through there holding the magazine in, and not even need a magazine release. You'd be stuck with that mag, right, under stress. I'm not excited about that. Or you could just redesign the whole damn thing. And I have a grip that actually takes this rail and maybe some of the guts, so you're just making the plastic lower. To me, that makes more sense. If you're going to do that, you may as well just make the OZ9 grip and make it to where it's compatible with the Flux. So you buy the Flux, you take all the parts of it, you put it on the OZ grip that has this deck on the back. Of course, now you're dealing with SIG. SIG may not like that, and SIG has even more lawyers than the Flux company. So I'm not sure what kind of sales problem you would run into if you were copying something from SIG that uses all their device parts and everything else. If you can get it done for less than $5,000, you're probably ahead of the game. Although this is probably $1,000, maybe $800 to $1,000, and then the grip, developing costs and everything else. But that's it. That's what I've discovered so far. Come out with another. You come out one belt loop, one belt notch, because you're inside the waistband anyway, and then come out another one because of this is kind of thick at about 1.5 inches on the rails, 1.5 width, where Glock 21 is about 1.27. So it is thicker. You feel it, but it's certainly not going anywhere. It's locked in on the dot scope on the belt, and it's not going anywhere. Let me phrase that. It's not shifting in your pants. As far as going anywhere, it goes everywhere you go, unlike every AR-15 you've ever owned. Oh, what about the Descent? What about the Rattler? What about it? Show it to me. Show it to me. Show it to me. Show me your Rattler. Come on. Show it to me. Show it to me. Well, we're at the restaurant. Come on. Show it to me real quick. Just boop, 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 boop. Restaurant. Boop, boop. You're not going to do that. Not with a Rattler. So, not with a micro Uzi All right, I mean, not with a TP9, you know, from B&T. So, you know, that's where we are. This is on the street in a commercially available product, even though it's heavily modified with a Dremel tool. It's a lot easier to cut material away than it is to create it from a spool of plastic, right? A Dremel tool is $100 and your time. A 3D printer is much more involved. But like I said, it's you might even suck in your gut when you're drawing. I'll give you some more what do you call it? Some more room, more margin of error to draw. You pick the shirt up, kind of suck in your gut, and drop the mag again. That's like 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row. That is a total failure. That is a total and absolute failure of a magazine release button. So that sucker's going to get cut off tonight.